What is going on, everybody? So, I am back today to talk about a film in a genre that I really appreciate. I know a lot of people don't enjoy this genre as much, but I'm a huge fan of found footage horror movies, and I've always been a huge fan of found footage horror films since the first time I watched The Blair Witch Project a very long time ago. I feel like found footage is such a unique genre because literally anyone can make a found footage film. It doesn't have to look great, it doesn't have to be like a visual spectacle, but what it needs is good storytelling, and it needs characters that are compelling, and it needs suspense or tension or horror or something to grip you, but it doesn't necessarily need to be the most visually stellar film. And I've always thought that was cool because found footage is a gateway genre for people who don't necessarily have the budgets to create something super flashy or very big budget Hollywood fare that we're so used to, especially in the horror genre. And so, this particular movie I'm going to be discussing today, I've seen talked about a little bit online. There's a couple of groups I'm in online that specifically discuss found footage, and I've seen this director's name thrown about and this movie specifically thrown about. And so, I decided I wanted to jump in and watch it and formulate my opinions. It's streaming for free right now on Tubi. You can watch it with just some advertisements. And the film I'm going to be talking about today is Mr. Creep. Mr. Creep is directed by Isaac Rodriguez. Three college students stumble upon a secret television broadcast of a deceased serial killer and search for its location. So, to be quite honest, did not see a trailer for this, saw nothing but the poster, had no idea what to expect, and being that this film was on Tubi and that this is a more low budget film, you never know what you're going to get into when it comes to found footage, and I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's a little rough around the edges. There's some things that you can really kind of see it wearing its budget on its sleeve, but when you take those things away, it's a really compelling, unsettling found footage film that does a really good job at creating atmosphere. So the film introduces us to this group of friends that have met at a community college. They're all like in their late 20s, early 30s, which really resonated with me because I went back to film school in my late 20s after already having a film degree. And these guys are going back, they're working on one of these projects together, and they've decided to look into this serial killer who was active, I think they said 15 to 20 years prior, where he was going around murdering people and then broadcasting these weird things on television with their corpses, that he was like interacting with them, setting them up at the dinner table, like doing all this really weird stuff. And so you find out one of the girls in the group is infatuated with serial killers, and so they kind of dive deep into this. They go to an abandoned police station to try to find the files to dig up on this guy so that they can really make this piece they're working on together something really special. They want it to work. They want it to take their careers off because none of them have had any luck getting jobs in the film world, even while they're finishing up their degrees. And the movie plays on from there. So I really enjoyed the atmosphere of this film. I think really early on it does a great job of building up that suspense and that tension and that unease, especially with like some of the sound design moments. It feels very analog and strange, so when you're listening to it, you feel completely immersed into this world. And at the beginning, we're introduced to our characters, but we're also getting cutbacks to the serial killer. Mr. Creep, or Joe is his real name that we find out throughout the film, is being interviewed by someone at the police station. We find out he's murdered countless people. He starts to tell us a little bit about why he's doing that. There's this weird doll that comes into play that has a very strange face, absolutely horrifying to look at. Really kind of set me on edge when I was watching it. It was really uncomfortable. Slowly throughout the film, the people in the group are starting to unravel little bits of information about this killer. And that's what I really liked about this movie. I feel like whenever you're doing these types of films, you have to approach it in a way that the way information is revealed to you is interesting, compelling, keeps you on the edge of your seat. And this is like a brisk, like hour and 10-minute movie. And so it has to keep your attention. It has to move at a good pace. Otherwise, you're going to completely lose interest and you're not going to care. There's the reason why I said it's a little rough around the edges. The performances, some of the moments are really great. Some of them you can tell that it's not like, obviously this person is not using like the biggest named actors imaginable. So there's a couple of moments that didn't necessarily work for me in the line delivery, but it's excusable because when you have a really limited budget, you use the people who you can, and these people try their best to give the best performances that they can. I do think the character that plays Mr. Creep, there's an older woman that comes into play throughout the film who she is absolutely terrifying. She does a really great job coming off as really unsettling. And there's moments with all these characters that I think really work, but some of their dialogue delivery is not the best. There's some jump around moments where the pacing isn't perfect. And like I said, for an hour and 15 minutes, you've got to keep us invested. And it kind of jumps all over the place, especially towards the middle part of the movie where there were moments that my interest was kind of weaning out of it, where I was like, okay, you could have kept this a little bit tighter. But those are very minimalistic complaints for a movie that's clearly done on a very low budget, that is a passion project for someone. And that's what was so impressive to me about this film, is that it's clearly a passion project and it's genuinely horrifying at moments, and it's not reliant on jump scares. There are a couple of jump scare moments in the film, but for the most part, I feel like the jump scares in this are effective because of the way that the tension is built. It's not like a lot of big budget Hollywood horror films that has like the swelling music and then the jump scares. A lot of the things that jump out in your face in this movie are in quiet moments that are completely and totally just devoid of any of that swelling musical score that you're used to. And most of this is just like knowing that there's this looming threat the entire time that you're watching the film, and that kind of sinking into your stomach as you're watching it, as to like, okay, we know what this is at the beginning of the film, we know what it's capable of, but we don't necessarily know, like, is this a supernatural thing? Is this just a guy? Like, what exactly is Mr. Creep capable of? And I think that looming thought throughout your brain watching the entire runtime of this film really does keep it engaging and enthralling as you're watching it. And I really enjoyed the third act of this. There's a moment towards the end that I was really impressed that the filmmaker kind of held on this for so long and was like, yeah, I'm gonna go there. And I was appreciative of that. And this makes me want to check out Isaac's earlier work. This one came out in 2022. I know he's done 3 or 4 other projects, maybe more from what I've seen online. And with filmmakers like this who are kind of taking it upon themselves to make found footage horror films and to do it in the way that they want, even if they can't get the budget that they necessarily want, they're going to keep trying to make something truly special. And this seems to be something moving in the direction of making something really great. This is still really good, and I'm really impressed with it, but I'll be looking forward to see what he makes after this, because this is the kind of found footage film that I personally want to watch. So have you seen Mr. Creep? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this was a really well made found footage horror film, especially on the budget. I was really taken aback by it, and I'm looking forward to watching it again. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.